Hey everyone, Jacob here from That Time We Woke Up in a Podcast and Had to Explain Manga, our heated adventures overanalyzing manga we find interesting, otherwise known as the Over Manga Cast. Say, have you ever wondered what it would be like if someone tried to write a battle shonen by way of acting? A play that is itself a battle shonen? Well, wonder no more, because this week we revisited Oshi No Ko by Aka Akasaka. We read chapters 41 through 66, so sit back as the curtain rises and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and as always, here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the franchise we read this week. I've not consumed any more Oshi No Ko since the last time we read it, so which took a bit of remembering when we actually got into the plot. I was like, where the hell are we? Who are these people? But
I have never been more appreciative of
the little beginning of volume recap thing. Yeah, same.
The fact that it was separated by arc, beautiful, great, I love it.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 there, Akasaka-sensei. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I also haven't read any more Oshi No Ko. I also didn't check out the anime, despite the fact I meant to. But as always, we were recommended to read this, or revisit this, I should say, by multiple people. So thanks. It's been a bit since the last episode, so here we are.
And Jacob.
Same. I haven't really touched it that much. It's one of the ones I kind of keep for when we do the episode on it, because it gets me to sit down and do a whole arc instead of, like one chapter every 2 or 3 months, which I do with a lot of other stuff.
But we open up with a reminder that Ruby is in this manga.
Not for long.
Not for
Yay, I beat you to the joke this time.
We open up with Ruby having a conversation with some friends, and the narration box is her praying to Ai. As we see at the end of the chapter, her visiting the grave. Basically just giving a handy little recap of everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Really convenient. That's how this arc opens.
Oh, yeah. Very, very helpful. Considering how the last arc ended with the reveal that we're going to have the best, all of the drama between Kana and Akane, which those names are going to be fun to keep track of. I had completely forgotten about that until Ruby mentioned that they were all in the same play. And also, yeah, Aqua has his company mandated GF.
I like the bit of Ruby I think I've decided he's the enemy of all women.
Look, there are only 2 types of sisters. The kind that just hate any girlfriend their brother ever gets, or the one who thinks their brothers are garbage and will never be good enough for anybody.
Ruby is the latter. We then have the cast and crew of the anime adaptation play that Aqua's going to be a part of assembling, so we can get a roll call of everybody that will be relevant going forward. We have Aqua and Kana.
We get 2 adult characters who do not look like the age they're listed at, because this is a manga.
I mean, yeah, they're also in the entertainment industry, so the one guy who's just 29 or something.
He's 35. He looks to be mid-20s.
That I 100% think he's got weird dyed hair to make himself look younger.
Look younger, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's also constantly
it makes sense. It's just also a manga thing.
He's also constantly wearing sunglasses because he's perma hungover. Mm-hmm. So that makes him look young and hip and cool. He's kind of got a Gojo outfit going on. But the other guy, the director for the play, that man is not 56.
Can we also put director in the biggest air quotes we have?
He does nothing.
No, he does all the stuff off panel. It's over there where, not relevant stuff happens.
He is apparently off panel approving all the insane things these characters do, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line at the end of our reading that seems to imply he knows every plot twist that was going to happen and approved it on his own. But he also could just be lying to the person he's talking to. Like,
to make him seem important.
Yeah, but this character is not important, except for this is the man Aqua desperately wants to, like, stalk and prove had something to do with his mother's death.
Which is weird how little he actually comes up for the rest of this.
And, like, and obviously, Aqua's mother in this case is the woman he's in love with. We don't untangle that in this reading, but I'm sure it'll happen inevitably.
We sure get something about it, though. But on top of Raida, Mr. Two-Tone Hair Producer, Kendachi, the old man director, no, not that one, because there are 2 old men directors in this. We also have Kamoshida, a guy, blonde hair, black roots, who is kind of an asshole. We have Goa, the screenwriter, and Wooby. He gets woobied later.
Yeah, he is woobied pretty hard.
Akane, Aqua's company-appointed girlfriend, and the other relevant characters are Melt, the guy from the TV drama that Aqua was in a few arcs ago, who kind of sucked ass at acting, and Himikawa, cool guy.
He's like the auteur stage actor.
He's the top performer of Lie Lie Lie. This isn't in the notes, so I can't remember what La La La.
Yeah. He's got big L energy in that he's very scruffy and
hunched over in a corner.
Very scruffy, hunched over in a corner. And then when the thing that he's got the hyperfixation on happens, he becomes the coolest guy in the room.
He's also the oldest actor in this entire cast, and he is 19 years old.
19, yeah.
Which is just insane to me that this director's like, I only want teenagers. And of them, I only want 2 of them to have ever performed on a stage before. And I'm like, wow, what a terrible, terrible director. Like,
just manga things. Everyone needs to be teenagers.
Yep.
More drama that way.
So much freaking drama.
Especially because Himikawa doesn't need to be 19. He could easily be mid-20s and nothing about his character would change.
He looks more grizzled and old than the 2 actual adults in this.
Honestly, he looks the same age as the guy who's supposed to be 56.
Well, that's what happens when everyone's ridiculously beautiful.
So many hot people in this manga. Holy. They're going to be in the 2.5D play of Tokyo Blade. Your basic shonen fight manga. It's got a bit of Demon Slayer. It's got a bit of...
It's very generic. It's extremely generic.
The way it was described, I thought it was like a 1-for-1 parody of Jujutsu Kaisen, because they're all about like, the arc this is covering is the Shibuya War. But then when they actually show you what it is, it's like almost closer to Inuyasha.
Yeah, Inuyasha. That's the one I was trying to remember.
Yeah, it has strong Inuyasha vibes.
It is.
As a friend of mine always called it, Dragon Ball, but for girls.
Yeah, I can guess what the target demographic for this manga is. Oh, it's shonen, actually. It's the target demographic.
It's shonen with a lot of pretty boys. So they're trying to get that cross demographic promotion going.
I think it's worth noting that when we actually see the play in the end, the overwhelming majority of the audience that was like for the
Shonen panel
first run, the overwhelming majority of the audience are women about the age of our main characters
who are all squeeing over the pretty boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could also just be because they've got a whole bunch of TV actors in this that have established fan bases, but
that's also true too.
Also true, yeah.
Because that's the whole thing with Melt, is that he's there because he's popular, not because he's talented. Is a whole arc that kind of happens, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because the cast is all teenagers, we obviously have to start off with the girls hating each other.
The rivalry between Kana and Akane, I did enjoy this. It's been bubbling in the background of these characters appearing in Aqua's life the entire time, and it comes to a head here. And it's just a lot of being snippy and catty. But also, I did like that it's not just, oh, there's the boy that they both like. Like, Aqua's part of it for that, but also they have history beyond that, which made it feel more rounded.
Well, the thing is, the cattiness is all basically over Aqua, but the substance of their conflict, because they do actually get like serious animosity towards each other. All of the substance is their own personal thing that's completely separate from Aqua. So it works out in being an escalation of their internal drama.
Also, dear listener, I'm going to warn you right now. I will never remember who is who.
There is a whole thing with Akane trying to appear like Kana at one point.
That flashback was fun.
Yeah.
Like they're easy enough to tell apart like their current selves because everybody is devastatingly pretty all the time, but like they do have distinct eyes and hair. But there's a part where Akana explicitly tries to look just like Kana and it works.
Anyway, my favorite bit about this is Kana she's got the exact same face of just like no expression, but grumpy, of just like, he's just her company appointed boyfriend, right? They're not really together. It's just if you kiss and then break up immediately afterwards, the fans get jealous. They don't spend a lot of time with each other. Oh, they do? It doesn't mean anything.
She is coping, seething, and molding. Every single time their relationship comes up, she gets this dead-eyed look on her face, and half of the panel becomes her rapid firing through a whole litany of cope.
Usually with a black void behind her.
Yep. Talk about your emotions, goddammit.
No, that causes people to die. So this is where Oshi No Ko does the thing where it decides to just become like
a documentary.
Yeah, a documentary on how theater productions are made.
Which, as a former theater kid, I did enjoy this for just, talking about the craft.
Yeah, like this initial part of like, okay, so this is how rehearsals work. And like when you're dealing with like celebrities, obviously they can't show up to every rehearsal. You want them to, but...
Yeah, there's a whole bit about how Himekawa, Mr. Big Shot, he's like in a movie at the same time that the rehearsals for this play are happening. So he's only showing up for the last like hour and a half of the rehearsals, and they got a stand-in for him.
I just, the Japanese entertainment industry is so wild to me, because just the idea that a movie star would also be performing a play they have to act in nightly for a month. Because like they don't have time in their schedule to rehearse. How are they going to have time in their schedule for when this is like
actually being put on as the
like
show?
Showing. Like,
because they did all the shooting during the rehearsals.
Sure, okay.
This is too much for a 19-year-old kid. No wonder he looks middle-aged.
Oh yeah, they also pay lip service to the fact that Aqua goes to high school.
There's like 1.25 scenes
on the same page that they talk about how the rehearsals are like 10-hour long days. They're like, oh yeah, Aqua still goes to school.
He goes to the Gen Ed program, so it's not even like he's in the celebrity program that he could take time off for work. Not that Aqua needs to go to school, because his entire thing is he's still got doctor level intelligence from his previous life, but not that doesn't come up. But that is
that's the excuse why we don't have to engage with this element of the story.
Yep.
Okay. Sure.
Look, that's why Ruby's past incarnation had to die so young, so she wouldn't have the same excuse.
Yeah, I love how the isekai nonsense is still vaguely alluded to.
Yeah, there's a bit with the isekai that I really enjoyed later on.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get to it, because I also really like that part, but...
We have a fun bit where Aqua has immediately twigged to the fact that Akane desperately wants to outshine Kana. And he's like, Kana isn't even really trying because she's had a bit of character progression where she's not such a little diva brat anymore, but you're still not going to be able to be better than her.
She has a very cute pout face that she does a couple of times.
Because Kana like dives into the acting scene just easily. She's swimming. She's taken to it like a fish does water. And essentially what she's doing is she is talking to the people on like the same skill level as her and hyping them up. And it's clear to everyone who knows her what she's doing right now is she got critique that she can't be the center of attention all the time and needs to work as a team. So now she's kind of like hyper team. Like she has gone full support role.
She swung the pendulum all the way in the other direction. Yeah.
Like that was the whole thing with the Sweet Today drama thing that they did a couple of arcs ago, is that part of the reason why it didn't work so well, despite the fact that Kana is such a good actor, is she sets her limit to like the worst actor in the room, basically. And I mean, like that, resulted in a bad, run of a show.
Because of Melt, who is not allowed to forget it. This poor man.
The manga and the characters, like the manga from Metatech's perspective and the characters, will needle him about this literally constantly.
I felt so bad for Melt. This was hard to read at points.
He cannot be on page without being told what a
failure he is.
Which, just because this is what we're seeing, this means 10 hours a day at these rehearsals, because he's going to all of them. Like, he's just being hounded.
He's having that imposter syndrome tattooed into his neurons.
Oh, I want to talk about a woobie.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about a woobie?
No, not that one.
We also have an entire bit where we talk about adaptations.
Yeah, like how, because what Akane notices is that the character she's playing isn't like the manga at all, because they're all in the stage of like theater where you're getting really deep into your character so you can have an idea before you start practicing something that you're going to then retcon because you don't feel like it's true to the character. So they're reading the manga, they're trying to find, and she's essentially going like, the character I'm playing in the play is not in this book. Like,
yeah. The whole situation is in the manga, she's someone who is willing to do what needs to be done, but is conflicted about doing bad things. But for the play, because of the limited runtime, they basically just use her to move the plot forward, which turns her into a bit of a psycho.
Yeah, she goes from struggling with the weight of responsibility. I am the princess and I must make these hard decisions. Oh, but I will cause so much suffering if I do this, into destroy them all.
Evil Ojo-sama, basically.
So she's conflicted about this, and because Aqua's a really good boyfriend, even though he's not trying, but literally he's just like, oh, you're having some trouble with that? Well, let's talk to both the director and the scriptwriter. He's like, what? No, I wouldn't go around the chain of command. You're talking to both of them at the same time. Doesn't matter. Yo, director, Akane's got a problem with the script. Also, can we talk to the writer since he's sitting next to you? And then the director's essentially like, I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want. Why am I here? Because the conversation is then just between Akane and the scriptwriter, and the director barely has any input until the very end, where he goes like, well, I'm going to do whatever I want.
The producer is just there to yes and.
The director is just there to yes and.
Yeah, Raida isn't in this scene.
Right. But it's here where we get introduced to our mini boss for this arc.
Goa?
No, the mangaka.
Yeah.
The one thing I do want to mention about Goa is he kind of immediately latches on to what Akane's problem is and goes, yeah, I hemmed and hawed about that. Like, it was necessary to get the vibe going, and like I had to take notes in, and this is the only way we fit the runtime. It is not a choice I am happy about, but it is a choice that needed to be done. Otherwise, we got to cut other things, and this seemed like the lesser of two evils. And Akane is just like, but I want to be a good character and have everything I want. and then her conflict is kind of resolved by accident.
Basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, there's sort of a fun bit where what ultimately ends up happening in aggregate is the story gets to have its cake and eat it too, because it brings up the simple truth that adaptations have to be at least a little bit different because the medium is different. You have different time, different way that you engage with it. There are different limitations on things like visuals and such. So sometimes a character doesn't translate very well from one media into another. Eventually we're going to like skirt around it kind of sideways. The fact that we never actually see any like we have some of the dialogue because there are scenes that are the characters acting in the play, but strictly speaking, we never actually read this manga. We never read any of the scripts, obviously. Like, these don't exist, so they can kind of get away with saying, we structured it differently in this scene, which is sort of the conflict that comes in next. Because one thing that they make clear is that the scriptwriter, he likes the source material, and but he also is first and foremost a playwright. So he's writing the script to be a stage play first. Mm-hmm. Which is frankly the right decision. Like fans of things that get adapted, if it's not set to the medium, it will be bad. Just accept that and move on.
Hey, if you have, and if you agree or disagree with that point, can I direct you to our No Read November episodes? Where I think the only ones we've liked have done something different.
We universally loved the Death Note movie, so...
Which I keep hearing to this day, people not liking it. I don't understand why.
Me neither.
Maybe they need to watch more bad movies, because that was just a solid movie.
Yeah.
And Fist of the North Star. That was good, too.
That one was good for different reasons.
Yeah. I do really like Goa's character, because he's kind of in that idealized state where you are doing what you love without compromising your ideals, but you're also sort of, accepting of the truth of the situation you're in.
Mm.
And like,
he's who I would want to be if I, because like I'm an aspiring creative. If I end up adapting something, he's the kind of person adapting things creative that I would want to be.
Same.
Ability to like maintain love for the source material, but also understand the changes that need to happen.
Yep.
And willing to make changes.
Also, he is very willing to make changes, and he's essentially goes to Akane, we could probably like workshop, maybe we can give you some better lines. And the second he says that, the director goes, no, you're not changing my play at all. I get to make the decision. Stop babying the actors. Everyone go back to their corners. Everyone's like, okay, so you never do anything except to be a
get in the way. Yeah, that's what a director does, right?
Sure. That is the kind of like, we're going to do the script that's been written for months and got approved by the mangaka. And then we find out that the mangaka's visiting.
We get a quick introduction to the mangaka, and she is my favorite character. I hate her so much.
creative, sure, wacky, waka waka. I like her too. I like her too because she's the type of creative I fear I will be if I ever make it big.
I didn't like her at all, and I came into this episode deeply being afraid that Jacob was going to do his normal and be like, I identified really strongly with this character. I'm like, oh no.
I see in her some of my own bad habits. I'll put it that way.
Jacob instead said, I don't want to identify with this character.
No, hold on. I acknowledge what's wrong with her, but I could fix
it. Wait, no, that's what I'm talking about. That's the bad thing.
She is cute.
But she's all right. I prefer her senpai.
Yeah, her senpai is really good. We are introduced to her and her senpai going out for a few drinks. We have Yoriko, the mangaka who wrote Sweet Today, the TV drama that got kind of picked up, as we have alluded to. God
damn it, Melt. Because apparently we have to needle him too.
Oh, she absolutely despises Mel.
I agree.
she cannot be on the same panel as him without exuding the most menacing aura.
It's not Melt's fault. Like, there is a
Nope.
team of executives that were in charge of okaying that performance. Like, no one cared was the problem. You're just blaming the face of it. But
Yeah.
I don't think Oshi No Ko ever pretends that its characters are moral high grounds, except for when they monologue about positions and opinions on how media works, which does happen shortly.
Yeah. I did like that Yuriko, seems to kind of blame Melt as the figurehead for why the adaptation of her manga failed. And at the same time, she holds the hypocritical stance of nobody in a production like this wants it to go badly. You shouldn't categorically blame the production, the people actually making the product, for throwing, basically. Everyone has a little hypocrisy in them.
Yeah, and the times that she does it, it's played for a joke in such a way that I don't think the manga agrees with her. Like, the manga might wooby poor Melt and remind him of this constantly, but like there is a whole thing about how like people keep beating him down, so how is he supposed to get better? You know, like that's the whole point of his character arc here, and she's being presented as an obstacle to that. It's not like the manga is agreeing with her.
So basically, the whole relationship between Yoriko and Abiko is that Abiko was an assistant for Yoriko, and then got her own manga, and then became so ridiculously successful. Like, Sweet Today was lucky to get a live action drama. Tokyo Blade has an anime. It's got this like stage show. It's got a lot of irons in the fire and is making her millions.
It is hugely popular. It's outselling Sweet Today. It's got more multimedia properties. It is hitting all of the success points.
So there's like a level of resentment that's being buried underneath. She views me as a mentor, and I really acknowledge like the jealousy I'm feeling is not an emotion I'm proud of, so I'm not going to share with her.
Yeah. Like, I really appreciate Yuriko as a character because she feels incredibly mature in this
She's mature, all right.
Emotionally mature on top of being kind of milfy. She is very emotionally mature in this arc full of hormonal teenagers and divas and drama queens and auteurs.
But yeah, this is them talking is honestly one of the low points of our reading for me, because it kind of turns into the thing that very rarely happens in Oshi No Ko, where two characters just seem to become mouthpieces for an ideology. I kind of just talk about the manga industry for a bit in a way that's just...
I think Akasaka might have some
issues, yeah.
Some frustrations to work through, just a little bit.
Like, it's not Platinum End level of mouthpiece ideologies. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
And like it got to the point, it had been going on for so long, and I'm just reading going like, okay, this is a good points about the manga industry, except we're not really talking about the manga industry, we're talking about theater, and none of the main characters are in this conversation. So it's just like, okay, come on.
There's move along a little bit.
There's an entire chapter of these two ultimately like side characters just screaming at each other criticisms of the industry.
Well, this is the chapter where they're like just on the same page criticizing the industry. I like the chapter where it's them arguing with each other a little more.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I liked that because it was two characters airing out their grievances more than it was about the industry.
Yeah, that was about characters. Although it is also vaguely about the industry.
It uses that as a framing device for it, and it still does comment on it. Yeah. But we'll get to that one. We're talking about double toothbrush scene.
The double toothbrush.
Yeah, they definitely threw that in the end because it's just like, okay, we need something the internet's gonna like. She's double along with that.
She's double fisting toothbrushes so that she can be more efficient.
Art creatives wacky, waka waka.
Waka waka. I do really like the end of the chapter where the two mangakas show up to view the rehearsal.
Mhm.
And Abiko she's very shy. She's, hiding behind.
She keeps
Yuriko.
ducking behind Sensei.
Mm-hmm.
This behavior is summarized later with she wasted her youth making manga. She never got over boys. Which is, from Yoriko's perspective, just a perfect summary of no. She's still in that phase where she thinks men aren't trash. Just let her. Because it just puts also the kind of jadedness she has with her life.
Uh-huh. I love Yuriko because she's so Genki, but she's very clearly repressing a lot.
She likes pretending she is a joyful person because she suppresses all the things that she doesn't like. But then they come out. They come out.
I totally didn't empathize with that character. But I love the way this chapter ends because they're sitting there, they're watching the rehearsal. We really think that Abiko likes it. She's kind of got the sparkles in her eyes. She's saying everyone's really skilled. They're all trying super hard.
Yeah, she loves the actors.
She loves the actors. It's there's just a few things about the script I'd like to change. And Raida immediately begins panicking.
He knows where this is going.
He's like, so which part would you like to change? The whole thing? That final page is my favorite because it's Yuriko being like, oh my god, okay, yeah, I knew she'd do this. Her manager, head empty, no thoughts, all screaming. Raida looks like he got kicked in the balls, and so does Goa.
I love how the next chapter begins because it's essentially Goa going oh, what do you mean by all of it? You did say you approved of the changes through earlier. What don't you like about it now? All of it, it's garbage. Everything about it is bad. They said I'd like it if I saw it in person, so I said, okay, I'm fine with it until then. But now that I've seen it in person, I hate it and it's garbage. Change everything. How would you like to change everything? Just change everything. Oh, so you're just giving terrible feedback.
Yeah.
I mean,
like I said, I'd like to hope I wouldn't be this kind of creative if I hit big. I worry I might be.
Listen, I really did try my best to work with my knowledge of the original source material.
No, you're just a garbage writer. You can't do anything. Get him out of my face.
Yeah, that's the part that stung the most because the guy clearly does know and like the source material, but he was clearly made. And it's they go into a little bit further that there was a game of telephone that happened because this is normally the way things go. And it's sort of funny because I'm seeing I see the characters and the personalities of everybody in the order that it's presented by the manga. They explain why this isn't normally done, but my immediate reaction is if the scriptwriter and the mangaka just talked, they could probably fix the problem, which is ultimately the solution that's come to eventually. It's there was a bunch of notes that were sent down after the first draft, and it's this guy being like, well, this is not a particularly clear note and seems to be missing the point of what I was doing, but I'll try to tweak it. And things get out of control. And, for example, you have a character who's basically entirely different. And it just...
I love how Abiko, essentially, her main opinion seems to be, I don't care if you change the plot, don't change the characters. And I'm like, yeah, that is what the mangaka would say, but holy crap, would the fans hate that? The fans would rather people act out of character than change the sequence of events that are perfect.
Yeah.
You know how I said I hope I wouldn't be like this brat, like this diva?
I recognize the thing. They did the thing.
Anyway, watch our No Read November episodes.
And listen to all my screaming about the Full Metal Alchemist movies. Yeah, part of me is like, God, Abiko is the worst. She's so unreasonable. She is being a complete diva, absolute girl failure. And the other part of me is like, God, if only I could. If only I could throw my weight around like this, I would be. I would deserve to get torn down like the tyrant I am.
Well, because I mean, honestly, what the problem is Abiko doesn't know how to convey herself in like a method people can understand. She's just like, no, understand exactly what I want, or else you're garbage and worthless to me. And it's just like, that's meaningless. You don't know how to lead people, and you're in a position of authority. You're the problem.
She's so close to getting it because she understands. I forget the actual like name of it, but it's the idea that like 90% of created media is mediocre to garbage and won't be remembered. It's like the reason that all of the classics are classics. We remember them because they were the cream of the crop that got remembered and rewritten down. Like there were probably thousands of other plays that happened in ancient Athens, and there were probably hundreds of contemporaries of William Shakespeare, but we don't know about them because they weren't remembered. She understands that, except instead of
she takes that from the auteur's perspective, is that it was the person who did it that made them that good, not that it was in aggregate everything it was that made it that good.
Exactly. Yeah, she's not thinking, wow, I'm sure lucky to be that 10%. She's thinking, I was destined to be that 10%. Everyone else just needs to get good. Fuck off.
Yeah. And like the other thing, going back into like why this breakdown in communication happened, and like I love how this is conveyed. She very overtly writes on vibes. Like she doesn't seem like the kind of author who plans things out. Like it's just, I feel it and I go there. And you can collaborate with people when you're in direct contact when you work like that. But if you try to send them notes, the notes are going to be, this is wrong, fix it. Okay, fix it. How? Just fix it is usually all you get. Which is exactly what's happening here.
That's even sort of subtly built up to, because it's mentioned, because Kana and Akane's characters are both love interests of Aqua's character, and it was fairly obvious early on that Akane's character was supposed to be the winner in that love triangle, but the fans liked Kana's character more. So that was how it sort of, the mangaka sort of reacted to that and shifted the manga in that direction.
That's kind of a different problem entirely, which we'll get into, because essentially what happens from her blowing up is she just goes, well, I'll just write the script then. You can keep that hack's name on it or whatever. I don't care. I just don't want you ruining this. And then Raida, bless his heart, is just like, that's really unreasonable. He's also like a very good playwright. Like he has multiple award-winning plays. No, he's garbage and he can't do anything. I'll just do it. Also, if you disagree with me again, I'm just going to pull my support for this, and that means you can't do the play.
I'm going to take my ball and go home.
Isn't there a fee associated with that? What, like 40 million? Yeah, I'll just pay that. The publisher needs to pay that. Oh, then give him his money. I don't want to support this. And everyone's just like, wow. So all of these people whose livelihood at the moment like revolves around this, and you're just like, nope. I saw what that garbage.
Very E.L. James behavior.
She's like, I saw what garbage they made for Sweet today, and I'm not letting them do that to my baby. I'll make the perfect screenplay, and I'll do it on my own. And yeah. And essentially what the director just has to go is like, okay, I guess we're shutting down production until we can get a new script. So all of these people are now out of work for what is essentially 2 weeks.
Hey, Abiko Sensei, have you ever actually written a screenplay? It can't be that hard.
I'm one of the 10% creative genius. Obviously, I can do it. The same fallacy of thinking that someone who is a scientist can do all of the science. It's if you're a genius at something, you're a genius in what you're a genius in, not everything in that broad category.
Which is directly stated when what happens is Aqua, because he needs to be the main character, and that seems to be the only reason this happens. gets everyone to go visit Yoriko.
Mhm.
Or not everyone, it's everyone from Sweet Today.
Yeah.
But that seems to just be an excuse for them to talk about Abiko.
Yeah. But it's only after he and Akane go on a theater date.
Oh yeah, because he has the whole like, I don't think plays are very good. I like movies. And then thank you for reminding me of this, Sam, because I really hated this point. Because it was essentially just like Akane just goes, yes, you'd be right, Aqua. Movies are the superior media format, and theater would be considered to be a dying industry. But, counterpoint, what if we went to a theater that was very gimmicky and 1 in a million and had a whole bunch of like screens and digital effects? Wouldn't that change your opinion? Why, yes, theater is very good now that I have seen this completely gimmicky theater where the audience is rotated in 360 degrees on a moving platform. That's clearly indicative of what theater is. And I'm just like, okay, so you don't like theater then? If you're like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. So since we're talking about this, because this did bug me too, there is a difference between theater and a movie. What you get out of them is different, and there is an energy. It's a very like intangible, hard to describe kind of thing, but there is an energy to seeing a live performance, to people really being there. And quite frankly, even the limitations of theater, which like sort of what this is trying to be is like, if we just eliminate the limitations of theater, it'll be just as good as movies. Part of the appeal of theater is the fact that the sets are generally so bare bones, and it builds into the suspension of disbelief. It's a similar effect to the way animation has a greater willing of suspension of disbelief than live action does, because it's already a drawn thing, so you kind of have to like imagine and fill in the blanks, whereas a physical performance is all really there. And Oshi No Ko does not seem to understand that at all.
yeah, because the things that they point out that are like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Everything Aqua finds really cool is not like the better performance or the like energy of the vibe. It's, oh my God, they can pump hot air and smells in through the like,
Wow.
air.
The stands rotate.
The fact the audience rotates, if that's a real thing that exists, seems like such a waste of money. Like, you're like, oh man, that means we can have multiple sets we can transfer to. I'm like, cool, that feels over-engineered.
At that point, that's just a theme park dark ride.
Yeah, basically.
Like
And it's just like, oh, cool. So this is where you're going to be performing this play. This is really
does your play have all this?
presumably. Also, presumably, they completely remake the play in the. We haven't got there yet. This is another thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, Aqua learns that he loves theater because he loves this one theater. God forbid your show ever needs to tour.
Yeah. And then they're having a cute coffee date afterwards. And then, oh, hey, Ryda's here because this is actually another play that he worked on, and also Goa wrote this one. And isn't he so cool? Isn't he such a wooby? Don't you feel bad for him?
Please go be the main character and fix this problem.
Yeah, and then that's when Aqua sets up the like, oh, let's get a reunion of the cast of Sweet Today to go visit Yoriko sensei. And they go visit her house, and then it quickly becomes, hey, can you help us deal with Abiko? And then she just goes and deals with Abiko, and it's just like, oh, cool, we had to remind you Aqua was the main character for a little bit before these side characters just completely solve their own problem with each other. Like,
yeah.
I do like the scene where all the actors show up at Yoriko's house, and she's just like, yeah, no, so I actually managed to clean because I only run a monthly series. People who run weekly series are insane and can't possibly have normal lives. Oshi No Ko is a weekly series.
Oh my God. There's so many cases of like Yoriko being a mouthpiece for gripes with the industry, because the one that like hit me was what's the purpose of an editor? To get the mangaka to write the series. Yes, and one other thing, never let it end. Cough, cough, Dragon Ball, cough, cough.
For Aka, that's almost certainly Kaguya-sama.
Oh, yeah. The editor is there to make sure that the manga does not end, and therefore become the babysitter, managing the emotions of the author who is on a burnout fast track.
Oh. It's also the great scene where she's just got all the people in her house going like, "Oh yeah, well, we can talk. You guys want any beers?
I have people to drink with. Yay. Wait, how old are you?
16, 17, 16. God damn it, why are you all so young?" And I'm like, that's what I've been thinking this entire arc. This is insane that you would. This is like, they make an allusion to like how the mangaka is thinking this is going to be like a high school theater production. And I'm like, yeah, no wonder she thinks that. You've got high schoolers doing the theater.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. I've got some soda and juice. You guys can have that. I'm still having beer.
Sure you want to be the only one drinking? It's 10 a.m.
Alone and otherwise with just minors is
that's not even your first. Okay.
What do you mean? I've been going at it since I woke up.
I wake up at 5 a.m. It's my day off. You got to get up early. It's all about envisioning success, you know? I don't think you're supposed to crack open a six-pack when you wake up if you're doing that, though. Do what your dream is. You dream of drinking beers by yourself? Got to dream of something.
Oh.
Look, I am basically on a constant death march of overwork, constant overtime. I can dream of being idle and enjoying a brewski.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me tell you about how, despite the fact that I am very clearly showing intense signs of mental suffering, Abiko also that. She is definitely also that. Read it, looking at the art that she made when she was my assistant, I could tell that she was spiraling.
And now it's gotten worse because she went from a monthly series with an assistant on a monthly series to the head on a weekly series.
Mm-hmm. Then Aqua's just like, "Oh man, that's terrible. How can we help her?" And Yoriko goes, "Oh, you're not going to be able to do anything. None of you are going to be able to do anything. I'm actually going to go on a side quest and fix this myself." Oh, cool. Well, we're going to go do whatever it is we do when we're not on panel. Like,
can you just give her this MacGuffin? Sure.
So yeah, she essentially.
This is where we get the scene of them airing their grievances at each other out. This is really good
scene because she goes up to her apartment. Essentially, the place is covered in trash, and she's just like, "Hey, Abiko, how you doing? Didn't get a chance to clean, I see. No time to clean. Got to keep drawing. Oh yeah, you can't have your assistants over if it's just so busy. I fired them all. They're worthless. They don't understand my vision. That's probably not a good idea."
Hey, you're still working on that draft. Wasn't your deadline yesterday? Yeah, whatever.
I worked through the night. Oh, so you haven't got any sleep? That's fine. I got 2 hours the past week. What?
In total?
You know how I said I don't want to identify with this character because I see how awful she is?
Hey, Jacob, you need to sleep more.
Nah, it's fine. You have to write when the inspiration strikes.
No.
Hey, you know how you said you were going to write the script for that play? Yeah, I'm going to do that after this. Oh, so you haven't started yet. And this has been a week since we did that. I'll do it in overnight. What?
You're already behind on your weekly manga.
What?
My favorite pair of panels is Yuriko deadly serious saying, "You're gonna die. If you keep up like this is gonna kill you. You're either going to die or you're going to have a complete breakdown and never be able to work again." And then
death's sounding pretty good right now.
I already want to die. I have a color page to do next week. And some sketches for the volume. And more chapters.
So I'll die in 2 days. That's when I'll die, because then I won't have to do the color.
Which is great because like this is started with Yoriko going like, yeah, you gotta be careful, man. You're probably gonna work yourself into a tizzy, and if you're not getting enough sleep, you're probably gonna fall into a depression and can't even work. And then that's when Abakyo just says, yeah, I've kind of just been idolizing death recently. And he's like, oh, you're well past the stage I thought you were at. I guess we're at tough love now. Hey, your manga's like trite garbage and really only appeals to readers because it's super generic. You think it's great art, but it's really just popcorn everyone loves. And then she just turns and goes like, you bitch. Your manga was never any good.
How dare you? You can talk to me like that when you've sold 50 million copies. Who the hell are you?
Oh, you and Akira Toriyama are the only two people who could possibly have an opinion. Great to just like discount all criticism from people who care about you. I loved that like back and forth there because that was such a good line of like, when you've succeeded, you'll know. And she's just like, no, shut up. That's not
how it works.
I'm allowed to have an opinion on shit.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow, you make more money than me. Yeah, because your manga's garbage and it doesn't have half the soul of mine. And I'm like, ooh. And then what really gets her is she's essentially like, what do you mean? Your manga, you allowed someone else to just completely ruin it. And she's like, oh, you know that's a source part. Here, I'm going to tell you this. Hey, what's up with the fact that the princess is no longer the love interest? I thought you did whatever you wanted and you was an auteur. Oh, wait, no, you just bow to public perception? Kind of a weak mindset.
Oh, no, the other love interest in your triangle got more tags on AO3, and so you changed the entire arc of your manga? Oh, no.
Oh, it must be hard to be a hack. At least I have integrity. And then she starts crying. It's like, no, that was mean.
It's them screaming and sniping at each other through the entire night. And
it's also the harshest version of everything they both need to hear. And I hate the fact that I feel like I'm both of them.
I appreciate the tough love of her like going like, hey, you know how you keep saying you're the 10% top best? Like you are the Shakespeare of your generation? No, you've just made Iron Man.
And then this poor courier is like, all right, I'll go ship this off for you. As it's 10 a.m. and both of them are flopped on the ground dead.
Oh, hey, you should really hire an assistant. They're bad. Yeah, you should be better at managing people if you're going to be this. Like the problem is you need to learn how to manage people. You don't have skills. You know where you also don't have skills? Making plays. You're going to make garbage. Don't say that.
But I just want to have control over my work because I respected you so much. And then I saw how they messed up your adaptation. And I don't want that to happen to me. And
okay, let's make out now.
That doesn't happen. I just want to make that clear. That doesn't happen. It definitely feels like it could, but she just gets wrapped up in a blanket burrito and put down for a nap.
I don't know. The vibe I got from Abiko was she's very like flummoxed by handsome men. So Yoriko could go either way.
Yeah.
Maybe literally. I don't know.
Happy Pride Month.
The next bit that we get is basically...
let's get these two people on a Zoom call because
the mangaka goes to see a play by Go.
It's the same one that Aqua and Akane went to.
And because Aqua sent her the ticket too, was the thing.
That was the MacGuffin.
Yeah,
right.
Because we need to be reminded that Aqua planned all of this because he's the main character. Like, we can't just let things happen without him orchestrating it.
Because he's light.
God, Aqua, for being the main character, is barely in this arc, and it's kind of insane.
Yeah. Also, this isn't very important, but I just want to note it. The play that Aqua went to get an appreciation for theater, and so he sends Biko there to get an appreciation for theater, is a table tennis manga adaptation called Smash Heaven, and that was just so funny to me.
Yep. The top of that where it's just Smash Heaven, and it's like the theater from the outside. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's definitely a theater and not some other kind of establishment where you might go see something performed on a stage.
Oh yes, I'm gonna go to the H&H stage around to view Smash Heaven.
Yes, H&H stage around. I wonder who they've got performing Smash Heaven.
Why is there only a paddle on the screen? Poor Raida. Well, actually, yeah, conveniently, the Smash Heaven theater production is also produced by Raida, written by the other guy's name. Go. Yeah. And so Raida's there just sleeping off a hangover, and when an assistant comes in and says, Tokyo Blade's mangaka's in the audience. Code red. Welcome to VIP. Quick, get the expensive bottled water. Hey, Sensei, how'd you like the play? Oh, it was very good. I didn't realize that plays could be like this. Oh, I'm so glad you thought so. He's really doing the kiss ass routine until he has the flashback to Aqua being like, aren't you the only one with any... You're so...
the flashback of Aqua reminding the audience he's the main character.
Aqua essentially just goes, hey, have you ever tried not being a pushover? And he goes like, my God, a realization I've never had in my entire 20-year career. Which, considering he's a producer, insane to me. All he's done is kiss people's asses for like 20 years. He has to tell people no at some point.
Because we kind of skimmed over it, but after Aqua and Akane went to go watch the play, Raida showed up and was like, hey, kids, how's it going? And he talked about how, yeah, no, Go and I have been professional acquaintances for a long time, and I know he's really skilled because he wrote this play, and I know he's
actually
also...
where a lot of the woobying for Go comes from, because they really lean into the idea that Go enjoyed this project and wanted to be on this project specifically.
He laid it on thick with that. And he's like, man, I really didn't want him to be fired, but, you know, the mangaka, whatever she says goes. And Aqua says, yeah, but aren't you the only one with the power to do something about this? And that is the flashback that he has, where he goes from kiss ass to sitting down with the
doing his job. Basically.
Like, he just essentially goes like, you know what? I was going to kiss your ass, but let me be real with you. My job is to make sure this gets made. And you being happy, you have made the final, the one and only criteria for this getting made. And that's fine. I am just imploring you, please let go of work on this, because the script you make is going to be garbage. And that's not saying you're a bad person. That's not saying you're a bad creative. You have never written a script before in your life. What is the chance that the first time you do something, you are going to excel at it? None? Cool. Now, great. Just agree with me. Do I have to suck your dick?
That's not even a joke either.
I have got the jobs of hundreds of people riding on me right now. I will get on my knees.
And like, basically, I mean, like, in all honesty, you know, talking about the guy being a pushover, this is basically what he should have been doing from the beginning, because like he acknowledges, I'm in a really weak position. You can just say no and it would suck, but I can't stop that.
Because normally he'd have the ability to like financially bully them, because like there was a fee for getting out of the contract. She's just decided she will throw 40 million yen out the window.
Yeah, and then that's when we get into him being like the third or fourth person to say to her, you are talented in the thing that you got famous for. You're not going to be perfect at this first try. Let the professional who is in his lane do his job. Yeah. And then we get the Zoom call, and again, it's I
love this so much.
I love him like mentally freaking out, going like, so I put them on a Zoom call together. The problem is creatives normally don't like this, because if they disagree, they might just keep disagreeing and it will spiral out of control.
Or worse, and the thing that happens.
And this is so, like I said earlier, I'm presented with this information in the order the manga gives it to me. So I see the personalities of the two creatives involved in this. And I'm like, if they had just talked, this would have been fine from the start. But then we get into why, even if this works, it's usually a bad idea to do this. Because they basically rewrite the entire show from scratch.
And they yes and each other so hard. They spiral so wildly out of control and get so incredibly ambitious that Raida looks at the new script and goes, holy shit, I've made 10 new problems for myself. Oh no.
My favorite part about this is what they essentially do is they're like, okay, so if we cut a bunch of dialogue, we can just have the actors be better actors. And then they can convey a bunch of things without words. And all that time we can put into elaborate special effects. And the entire time I'm just going from producer brain going like, this is going to cost so much money. And every single actor is going to hate this new script. Which we find out the actors do kind of hate the new script because they don't listen to it at all. But conveniently, this scriptwriter doesn't care, which is weird because normally people who write hate when actors ad-lib. But as we'll find out, that doesn't come up.
Yeah, no.
This is very much the having its cake and eating it too.
Oh yeah.
Of the manga, because it's like it.
Because the actors,
all these stars could technically align in a real production, but they don't.
It's the insanity to me is that they're able to literally like triple the budget for special effects less than a month before the show has to go live. Like that's not how this works. Like
they pay they pay lip service to part of the problem being that they have to redo the entire sets basically from scratch. They pay lip service to that being a problem, but then it's never addressed again. We just presume it gets solved off screen,
which is the most creative with a capital C thing in this entire manga. Hey, man, we've got these really good, great ideas. That'd be perfect. How do we make that come to fruition?
How do we do that?
Does the crew have to... Which actually, high school theater me is definitely like, oh yeah, the actors definitely go like, that's crew's problem.
Yep. We also... the stars also align with the actors. Because, yeah, they all get the new script and they're like, wow, they're really putting it all on us, aren't they? And then rather than all of them immediately hating it, they all rally like they're friggin' challenge runners and go, love the opportunity to really flex my skills.
Yeah, their initial reaction is, oh god, they're making us do all of the work. Oh crap, this is this is the worst case scenario, especially with the short amount of time that we have. But as it turns out, because we got to have our cake and eat it too, as it turns out, most of the principal characters were already like method acting their characters anyway and wanted something like this from the start. As it turns out, because that was the whole thing with Akana's character not being the way she wanted it was because she wanted to get in her character's head, which, you know, helps with ad-libbing. So it's
Jacob, I thought you'd appreciate this moment because this is essentially every single character going like, oh man, so convenient. I was wearing weighted clothes the entire time. What, hello, you were also wearing weighted clothes? Oh, good. Now we can act even better.
It's like they use acting instead of the normal physical conflict, but this turns into a shonen so fast.
Look, we can appreciate that while simultaneously being like, holy crap, this is the most pie in the sky indulgent bullshit.
I mean, to be fair, this story started off with like the isekai nonsense, so it's like the level of reality is set, but like we can't not point this out.
This is somehow more unrealistic than the reincarnation isekai.
I think last arc we were also complaining about how the YouTube, like going viral on YouTube, worked too well for the idol group. I take back any complaints I had at this point. This is so much more unrealistic.
Oh, it is fun though, so
yeah,
it's fine, I guess.
This is very shonen. Like it's, hey, why are they in a tournament? It doesn't matter. It's fun.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of those elements of willing suspension of disbelief. This is this was always the world that this story lived in, even if it's emphasizing it a lot in this particular arc. So, like, when you're reviewing it, you have to note it, and it is, like, strictly speaking, weird and kind of dumb, but it's also fun, so...
Yeah, there is no situation where Rida coming in going like, hey, they completely rewrote the script. We have to perform this in 3 weeks. And also, all of each and every character had their dialogue cut in half, and you're just going to have to emote really hard. Good luck. And everyone's just jumping at the bit because this is so good. Like, there is no reason anyone would be happy with this situation. But
we gotta get to the Battle Shonen manga part of this series about actors acting out a Battle Shonen.
Well, we have to have
a Battle Shonen.
We have to have the training arc, because when everyone jumps at the challenge, Aqua's sitting on the sidelines going like, wow, everyone's so good at acting. Too bad I'm terrible at acting. I have no talent. By the way, Aqua's been saying he's had no talent this entire arc. We skimmed over it because Aqua being a sad boy isn't new or interesting. And like, he essentially just goes, I'll never understand how to be a good actor. And Kana just comes in and is just like, hey, I know your problem. You're not emoting. And this is a stage play for an anime. So you've got to emote your ass off. That's the only way this is working. So you've got to trigger your emotions deep down. I'm going to teach you a method that everyone uses called method acting. And I'm like, oh no, that's not generally considered great.
That's not great for people who have experienced trauma.
Yeah, and it's essentially just like, hey, just think about a really sad thing that's happened in your life and you can cry on command. That's what they tell children to do. And I'm like, oh. And he's just like, think about what you'd do if your mom died. And then Aqua just goes like full PTSD, dog staring at cupcakes. My mom died? My mommy that I was in love with? Dead? Because of me? What's going on here? Oh, he's coughing up blood. Oh, Jesus.
He just fainted.
Hit him in another room. And then my favorite line is just what the, like, is it the director or it's like one of the stagehands? I think it's a non-named character. Essentially just goes to Akane, hey, you're his girlfriend or something. You want to go in there and take care of him? And it's just like, oh, yeah, I guess I am his girlfriend. I should go take care of him. And she just goes into like the dressing room with him. And it's just like the look on her face of like, you're right. That is the thing expected from me. And she like is nursing him back to health as he's like passed out on the, they just dump him on the floor too, is the best part. Like they dragged him into this room to throw, like not on a couch or anything. Just
like it's like a kitchen or something.
It is just a room he can have the door closed for privacy, I guess, which is not. I think they know he had a panic attack, so they're just giving him space. But he is not conscious when Akane walks into the room, and he is mumbling in his sleep, "I." And then
she has the brain blast.
She has the Jimmy Neutron brain blast, like original newspaper serial Sherlock Holmes level of like, yes, that one clue. Wait a second, wait a second, no one knows I's last name. Wait a second, they have a last name that belongs to their producer? But that's interesting. I wonder if I's real father had I's real father. I wonder if I was maybe in a relationship with someone. He didn't like when I said that rumor. My God, if that were true, that would be the most horrible backstory for any main character. As she looks directly in the camera.
I did like them pointing out that nobody in the public knew I's last name.
Knew I's last name, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that got mentioned before, but it was not mentioned often enough for it to
sink in. The other thing that's worth noting, because here I go defending things again. I want to make it clear. I agree with Matt in the sense that this is some Sherlock Holmes shenanigans. The one thing that's worth noting is that she does get some additional context because she takes Aqua to the director who he met when he met Kana. And he also mentions some things that she uses to put together. She still makes some pretty impressive leaps of logic to get to the right conclusion. How about that? But
I just love that this is the man who rescued her from like killing herself. So she's already genuinely in love with him. She hasn't admitted that part yet. They're just together for appearances. This is the moment she goes like, I am going to be with this man forever. Because she internally goes like, I am ride or die.
She learns about the tragic backstory and latches on.
And also lies to him about it. It's just like, no, I'm just crying about a story I made up in my head. And Aqua doesn't think about this at all because Aqua is incredibly intelligent until it comes to women. And I said that as if it was a criticism, and now I'm like, no, that tracks.
That actually fits for his character, yeah. And the other thing is, I kind of love the fact that it is also kind of a story she just made up in her head. She just also happens to be right.
Yeah.
From her point of view, she doesn't know she's right. She is, so it's going to be very confusing, but
it's one of those little things where it's a very easy writing trap to fall into of assuming the characters know what the audience knows. Because
it is my biggest pet peeve of fan fiction.
Yeah, it's
like every character knows everything.
Why didn't they just do this? When were they told that was a thing?
Yeah, so it's one of those ones where it's like it's a bit of a misstep because quite frankly, what's going on is we're fast tracking that element so that we can get to other parts of the story sooner. Is the reason why this sort of thing happens. That's an excuse. It's not like. That's an excuse for a mistake, but that's why it's happening.
Where would this have fit in before now? It's not like there was an entire chapter just monologuing about complaints about the manga industry.
Yeah, I know. That stuff's really important, but we can't make changes.
There was no place. This is also where we get the scene that made me go, Akane, I'm not sure. I kind of like Kana better as a love interest. Go like, nope, Kane is exactly who Aqua needs. Because they are on like a date, and she's essentially going like, hey, so you have like a whole bunch of PTSD or something. What are you going to do about that? And he's just like, it's because I've got a deep traumatic backstory that I'm not going to tell you about. That's fine. I don't need to know about it. Oh, yeah? What if it was because I need to be an actor? For reasons I can't tell you. That's fine, I believe you. What if the reason I couldn't tell you was I wanted to kill someone? And Akane just goes, who and when and where? I am down. I will help you hide the body if you need someone to put it in a sack. If you need someone to give you an alibi, I am your girl. And Aqua
kill them.
Aqua is just so like, my God, you're perfect. And I'm just like, oh, so he's just light Yagami.
Yeah.
I mean,
like she's Misa.
Which is also amazing because this is also the chapter where we get the scene of just like the sparkle in his eye. And he's just like, I will avenge you, I. And I'm like, this is just a Lelouch screen cap. Like this is him using his Gios.
Yeah.
It's the black star in his eye.
Because he has decided to do evil and murder. Because we also skimmed over his PTSD is personified by his former body made of shadows in the back of his head going, you don't deserve to be happy.
You failed. You didn't save her. You had such an advantage with your perfect reincarnation, and yet she died anyway. How dare you feel any modicum of happiness until you have succeeded in your revenge?
Who do you think you are thinking you get to move on? Which is amazing because in that moment, he's talking to that part of his personality as if it is a completely separate person. And I'm like, oh, that is really interesting. Like the life he was before is now 17 years ago. Like the idea that he's still that person is gone. Like he is Aqua. So
yeah, because I mean, like 17 years is a long time. You know, like who were you 17 years ago? Like even without reincarnation shenanigans, and you know the fact that he's literally a different person now.
I really like that. But anyway, he's now got a girlfriend willing to commit murder, and they begin to start spending a lot of time together. Oh, we skipped over the thing. Aqua's director mentor came to pick him up, and then that also unlocked some more plot coupons because he's just like, "Oh, you're his girlfriend? Oh, that's weird. I thought the other chick." I'm not going to address that now.
He's thinking about Kana.
He really doesn't care.
He's just like, "Hey, yeah, he's an actor. I'm sure he's getting around."
You know what? I'm just not going to bring it up. That's more complications than we need right now.
Yep. Hey, do you want to remember Ruby exists for like half a chapter?
Yeah. Oh no, I also really like how he's like, yeah, it seems like you had a panic attack as you drew upon your past memories and it triggered your PTSD pretty bad. That's not good. You're going to want to avoid doing that. So, how can we find a way to have you participate in this play, get what the scriptwriters want, and not have that happen again? I need to do exactly the thing that just happened to me again, constantly for a month. All right, then, get ready for some exposure therapy, dumbass.
Yep. So
I'm sure this can't possibly go wrong.
And because he's doing that every day, eventually his sister remembers she's in this manga, walks onto screen and goes like, "Hey, friend who looks suspiciously like me and didn't confuse Matt about thinking it was a different person. Do you want to come and go check out my brother?" And Mina's just like, "What do you mean by that? That was a weird way to phrase that. I don't like your brother." "What? I meant
What?
go see if he's fine." "Oh, yeah, that's totally what I thought you meant."
Yeah, he's been coming home later and later ever since he started getting really into working on this production. "Oh, hey, Mel, how's it going?" "Yeah, I'm still suffering." "Anyway, what are you doing?" "Oh, rehearsals are over. I'm heading home." "What? But this is way before Aqua got home." "So he's been staying later doing extracurricular activities?" "Yeah, Kane's been with him a lot too." And the other girl immediately goes, "They're
Yeah, Mina is way too invested in this.
It's great because it goes from really funny and not being taken seriously to suddenly, oh wait, no, we there's actually plot here.
It has like one of the few scenes where it acknowledges Ruby also is isekai'd, because there's the whole thing about like, oh yeah, he's probably doing her constantly, and like Ruby's on board with like, yeah, he's probably doing weird stuff with that girl, and then suddenly he's like, yeah, they must be banging nonstop, and then she goes like, hold up, he would never do anything that would get a high school girl pregnant, or I would kill him, as she looks directly in the camera.
I love it so much.
And then we just move on from that.
Yep.
Ruby, you got weirdly intense there for a second. Don't worry about it. I trust my brother.
I'm going to go talk with Melt off screen, or I'm going to go do something. I don't know. I leave Mina alone, though, which is enough time for the dude with bleached hair that I don't remember to show up. Kamoshida. To show up and start hitting on Mina, which confused me, because at this point, I thought Mina was Ruby, and I'm like, hold on, what? But no, I had to look this up afterwards. And essentially, he's just like, hey, girl, I'm a celebrity. You want to hit me up sometime?
Here's my line.
And then he walks into the hallway and Melt's just like, hey, don't mess with her. She's Aqua's girl. What? Well, I mean, she's friends with Aqua's sister, which is essentially the same thing. Not even close to the same thing. What are you talking about? Listen, I'm a playboy too. I don't think women are people, but those women would cause problems with another man, so I care.
Man, you are talking a lot of shit for a guy who's so incredibly bad at acting. You bombed an entire production.
To say something that was true.
Oh, and then we get back on the Melt Wooby train.
God, poor Melt.
Like, he's such a big man, too, going like, hey, that's some other guy's girl. Don't start something. That's just going to ruin our entire... Don't eat where you eat is essentially the thing he's saying, which is not treat that woman with respect. It's, nah, she's not worth the time.
And at which point he's just like, yeah, real funny. You talking about professional ethics, Mr. No Talent. Man, you wouldn't ruin my chances with that girl. Her tits were huge.
Yeah. I'm not going to actually call her despite the fact I have her phone number, because I do respect Aqua, but I just want it to be clear, I don't respect you. Oh. And then we cut to the girl group getting together, and they're just... So this is why I got confused, because Mina's not bragging about having his phone number. It's Ruby in the girl group.
Yeah.
But I think she's just saying that Mina also got his number, and then the the girl who's actually 25 goes, "Oh yeah, no, he's no good. Don't mess with him." And then Kana's
Mem.
also like, "Yeah, mem." And then
Mem.
Kana's just like, "Yeah, no, like
We're gonna
guys like
block him.
guys like him are love him and leave him types. You don't want to get involved.
He's probably a man whore.
This is not the era of your life you want to be in right now. Wait until you're out of high school, then do whatever you want. I don't care."
I love Memcho being like, he's probably a man whore.
Look, Mem's got some opinions.
She's got some life experiences she's not being explicit about. Anyway, we need more bullying. How about we have Kana bully Akane?
Yeah.
This chapter sure is something. Because it's the two of them doing that thing where they're talking real sweet, but they're being extreme.
They're sniping at each other.
Though Kana's doing it more than Akane.
Well, because Kana is also noticing that Aqua's been like running off with Akane every single night. Probably heard from Ruby, honestly, but also has been noticing it. So that's a lot of where this resentment is coming from, along with they don't like each other.
And Akane is just like, yeah, it's so crude how you cling to your past so much. How about you just move on from being that child actor? And it's like, yeah, that's funny how you say that, because I found this back edition of a magazine talking about child actors, and there just so happens to be an interview with child actor Kana Akane in here. And wow, what do you look at that? She said one of her greatest inspirations was Arima Kana. Wait, that's me.
The fact she went out of her way to find this article, like, this required some legwork. That is definitely because she was getting jealous. Like, that's 100%. This is not something that comes out of nowhere.
It's the Ace Attorney effect of calling out someone with receipts.
Well, what ended up happening was one of the other people from the play production company they don't go into detail about this exact interaction, but she got that from one of the people who knew her.
It still took some legwork is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is a lot of effort to go through for what should be just a quick dig. And then while in this argument, she goes like, "Well, you're just his show girlfriend. I'll just have you know, we were actually in a gig as children, so I'm actually a childhood friend. I'll love him more than you ever will, and by love I mean know him deeper." What? And then Aqua then has to interject in this, going like, "Hold on, wait, what was that?" we didn't interact continuously since that. We met once as children, and then there was a time skip where we didn't interact. I want to make that clear.
And I also kind of low-key hated you because you were worse then.
And like, for Aqua to have to interject in this like drama means like, oh yeah, hold on, I noticed something's going on here.
Aqua, who does not care about any of these shenanigans.
It's also got a great scene where just him and Akane are hanging out later, and she's just like, "I hate her so much. Aren't you my boyfriend? If I wanted to kill someone, aren't you supposed to agree with me and help?" And he's just like, "Damn, you're right. Ride or die. Bonnie and Clyde."
Actually, yeah, no, I kind of wanted to kill Kana back then too. She was the worst, right? She's the worst.
We're killing her, right? And then Aqua's just like, "Well, we can just kill her by being really good at acting." And Akane's just like, "Okay. But murder's on the back burner." Always will be, babe. Their relationship is so weird yet so functional. I don't really understand.
I love them. Best ship. There's also a weird thing where Himekawa is like sided with Kana in this feud, because he was the one that leaked the information to her, that got her on that train.
Because this is what I was mentioning before about he's the one that gave her the book because he thought that she wanted it to like get to know Akana better so they could get along more. He specifically calls out, "If I knew you were going to use it to bully her, I would not have told you about that." Like, he calls her out.
But hey, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'll help you beat her.
She did have to like extort it out of him then. Like, this was a process to get this dirt. So Himekawa's just there for a good time. Like, he's just like, "Yeah, was fun.
Well, yeah, because the reason Himikawa is siding with Kana in this case is because their two characters are linked in the play.
Mhm.
So, like, the two of them play off of each other,
Yeah,
and thus that's why they're tied.
Himikawa totally came to rehearsal just going like, yeah, I kept hearing Aqua and Akana keep saying ride or die, so I think I'm just going to go with that for this chapter.
Basically.
It's weird. It's like after rehearsal ended, they just kept shouting ride or die at each other as they walked away.
And after all that preamble, God, it was a lot of preamble. It's finally time for the play.
And here's the thing. If you're worried, that doesn't seem like enough preamble. Don't worry. The play is full of flashbacks to more preamble. But it is opening night for Tokyo Blade, the musical, but not a musical, just the stage play.
Yeah.
It should be a musical.
No. Can Aqua sing? I thought he can't sing.
Probably not.
Or am I thinking of a president?
Originally, none of the members of B Komachi could sing until they did their training arc. But
Oh, that's right.
You're probably thinking of the other Aka Akasaka manga.
I probably am.
Look, I just like musicals, okay?
We'll be back after our viewing of Oklahoma.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Where last we left our heroes, the play was about to begin. That thing that we've been building towards this entire time, it's actually happening.
And I will say this at the top of it because otherwise this will be very confusing. This play is essentially all of these characters meeting each other for the first time based on their reactions.
Yeah, it's convenient how we only get tiny little snippets that happen to perfectly fit what the rest of the narrative needs.
This play has never had a dress rehearsal, is all I can understand, which is insane considering the amount of special effects they have.
Yeah. It becomes an entirely different manga for a hot minute.
Yeah, because honestly, what is happening is the shonen battle action scenes are being used to convey what would otherwise just be like personal growth drama, which is fine. And it's being like metaphor to make it more realistic. But just to watch this as if it were an actual play is just insane. Because like, well, we'll get into it.
We have a great moment with Aqua in the dressing room where we learn that this is where it's explicitly said that he's been trying to exposure therapy his way through his PTSD, which, no.
I'm sure nothing bad is going to happen.
We have a few very dramatic panels of him freaking out. There's the mirror, his past self looming over him like a specter of death. And my absolute favorite panel where he's trying to steel his resolve with his thirst for vengeance. And he's like, it doesn't matter. I need to do whatever I can in order to reach my goal. There's no point in getting cocky if I can't leverage my own trauma. The line of all time. Hey, do you think he's got problems?
Considering his director told him, well, you're not going to get better through therapy, so what if we make you worse?
I can fix him. I can make him worse.
What if we make you worse in a way that will benefit you in the short term?
So we have the opening of the play, and I kind of see where Yuriko was coming from about how Tokyo Blade's kind of generic. The opening is great. It's Himikawa's character finding a sword and being like, whoa, glowing sword. And Kana leaps out like, haha, that is one of the legendary swords with special powers. Unfortunately for you, I'm going to kick your ass before you can ever gain its power. Oh no, you've kicked my ass, I'm sorry.
My God.
Now we go on adventure quest.
Someone who gathers all the swords will have the power to steal all of Japan.
As
what
you
the
do.
hell does that mean?
And then they essentially fight enemies and beat the enemies, and then the enemies join their crew because when I am king of Japan, you can be my minister, and you can be my general, and I'll be the robot. But I'm the robot.
I am the robot.
Oh God, we're so old.
Hey, younger listeners out there, look up My Life as a Teenage Robot. It's pretty good.
Be careful where you look it up, though. I'm not going to go further into detail there.
So the thing here is we get a whole bunch of basically mini arcs for all of the different actors. And I love how this is treated as like basically a shonen battle tournament, because you have Raida and Director Man, who didn't do anything, sitting in the stands being like, yes, they're both brocking it up.
I was just gonna say they're brocking.
Oh yeah, this also where like all of the characters get back row seats, because you don't understand. Those in the industry always sit in the back row so you can see the audience's reaction. Yes, we're going to have 17 different people comment on this.
Ruby's like, man, it sure is great to be a VIP. Okay, don't get ahead of yourself. You're literally only here because you're one of the actor's sisters.
There's a really cute scene with Abiko where she shows up with Yoriko and they meet Goa, and it's right before she's just like, oh man, I greenlit with this. What if everyone hates it? This is gonna be garbage. I'm really excited, but everyone might not like it. And Goa shows up, like, hey, I wrote this, so I like it. So that means at least 2 people love this trash fire at worst case scenario. And she's like, I'm not going to talk to you. But also, Yoriko might be trying to wingman me. Aw, she's really nice. You just have to approach her. She needs to get used to your scent.
You're not wrong.
Sorry, she hasn't learned men are trash yet.
We have a really unhinged thing here from the director where, because the first of the mini arcs we get is Melts. Raida's just like, you really fought for this kid to be here, and I don't get it. He just kind of blows. And he
everyone in the audience knows this actor is bad. Like, this mini arc, I'm just gonna chime in now. I liked the least.
And the director's just like, nah, I got a feeling about him. You have a feeling about him. And they have the dramatic zoom in on the practice swords where his is all tattered and bloody from being used a bunch.
This is the one that is like the most explicitly battle shonen in a way that doesn't fit with what Oshi No Ko is at a fundamental level.
Yeah, because essentially what the moral of this one is like him going like, no, I thought you'd appreciate him because he works hard. And then he'd been working on the sword play. And then we find out his entire thing is Aqua, because Aqua has to be involved in everything. Told him, hey, you're really bad at acting, and everyone is so much better than you. If you try and compare to them, you're going to fail 9 times out of 10. But what about if that 1 time out of 10 you shined like a star? What do you mean? We only have 3 weeks to practice. So what if you practice being really good for 1 minute of the play and complete garbage the rest of it? That doesn't seem like that's a good strategy. It's all you've got. Welp, I'm going to learn a gimmick.
You don't have time to raise your skill floor high enough. So just do one really cool thing that everyone will latch onto. It's fine. And by the way, this is going to come after the end of your flashback chapter, where we get flashbanged on an opening with you being questionably the questionable consent.
Yeah, that was a choice.
Okay. They use the word taking advantage of. That's not the vibe I got. I got that he kind of like went along with her affections and then kind of felt like things moved. He felt like the relationship moved too fast.
Yeah.
I would not have chosen that use of words considering how he behaved, because his
shell-shocked expression.
That's him kind of coming to the realization of everything after it's done.
Yeah, that was nothing.
Coming to the realization
to it.
Yeah, the vibe from him is definitely, I've been pretty, and things kind of just worked out for me. And the second I left that tiny pond, I suddenly realized you need to do things. So I worked really hard. And Aqua told me I won't be good enough to work really hard at everything. So I zenitsu'd this and practiced one technique a million times. And
So- Watch as I do this cool sword spin.
which really, he points out that this stage play is mostly mock katana battles, which just makes the idea that you would go, yes, those children who acted in a TV drama, I want them to be my katana sword play like actors. They've never done fight choreography, which, to be fair, the manga portrays it as if they've never done fight choreography. They seem to just be actually fighting.
Yeah. It blurs the line a lot.
Well, I'm
Because
also
it's trying to do battle shonen.
it's a battle shonen that's being a metaphor for the growth they've done, which I don't even think is supposed to be the actual play, kind of. But it is. It blurs the line. Is a great way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his entire vibe is I've practiced this one thing, and then Aqua has an internal monologue where it's just like, no, he's got a point. People remember when people are really bad at something, and then they feel bad for them. And sometimes when people go, that person's completely worthless and can't do anything right, they subconsciously root for them. So when they do one competent thing, they think they're actually really good at everything. And I'm like, holy shit, Aqua, what is wrong with you?
That is the rudest thing you could possibly say to this boy.
You worked really hard. Lap up that pity. That's all you're good for, and that's the best you could hope for. And the bleach blonde guy is the person he's fighting, but because he was wearing a hood the entire time, I thought it was Aqua, so I was very confused. Because I'd forgotten Aqua was the demon lord, who I'm able to recognize because he has his hair pulled back the same way when he was drinking that energy drink. So that was the first mini arc.
Yep. Everyone's like, damn, Melt, that was a cool sword spin.
Meanwhile, the director's like, see, I was completely right the entire time. And the producer's just like, there's no way you planned that. that had nothing to do with you. I had to approve him doing all those choices. That feels made up.
You're bullshitting me right now. And Melt backstage like, whoa, that was awesome. Acting sure is fun, guys.
The idea behind this is it's like now he can actually start dedicating catching up with because there's not a time crunch anymore, which doesn't really address the fact that the show is going to be going on for a month. So
it's fine.
He doesn't have time to practice. Like,
yeah,
they certainly breeze over the fact they're going. One character offhandedly mentions, man, it's going to suck to have to continue doing this for a month. And I'm like, yep, that's definitely how everyone is acting. Like, opening night is the only night you need to do anything.
It's the only one you need to do anything for the perspective of the manga.
Yep, because we've never had a dress rehearsal.
And now it's time for Kana's mini arc, which is also Akane's.
It starts off Akane and then it switches to Kana's point of view. Because this is when we get revealed that Akane not only idolized Kana, but like at apparently some point in between this had read Blue Lock and was like, yes, no, I don't like the fact that you're helping your teammates. I want the person who shined brighter than the sun itself. That is the person I want to beat. Beating you as you are now is worthless. I am going to shine brighter than everyone. Meanwhile, someone on the sidelines is going like, man, this is a scene with a lot of actors in it that they should all be sharing the stage completely. But it looks like Akane has just decided she's going to hog everyone's attention. That doesn't make a good performance.
I love how much the narration boxes and inner monologues are paying lip service to the idea of, from a strictly theatrical and like production standpoint, Kana is making the correct decision. But no, we need to have the big dramatic conflict between these two rivals.
Because that's how the shonen battle works.
Yeah.
Because apparently these women have never done a dress rehearsal. They've never even rehearsed with each other at this point. because they are constantly being surprised with how good at acting the other is, because they've all been hiding their power levels for opening night, which is an incredibly sane thing to do.
guys, I feel like maybe this metaphor wasn't the best option for.
These people are treating acting as if it's a combat sport, which is just insane. Like, that would not be a good show to watch.
Everybody's talking about how they're not going to lose and I will become stronger.
What do you mean by lose?
Yeah, and Kana's
what are you talking about?
This is collaborative.
Kana is the one who's just like, oh, someone's overacting, better move them to the center so they, like, the stage is balanced more. Better tone down my acting so it's not just two people, like, enunciating at each other. Oh, someone's line got covered by a sound effect playing off key. Better reiterate to the audience what the name of that character was going to be, because ad-libbing is seen as a moral good, which is interesting considering the author and the scriptwriter and the audience.
I
mean, that actually is a good ad-lib when, like, a sound effect plays incorrectly. It's the ad-libbing stuff that happens later that's stupid.
You're right. This one ad-lib was okay. The fact they talk about ad-libbing later is just insane. Oh, but so they stay. I think it's even Aqua in his head going like, Kana's making the good choice here. She's downplaying. She's trying to keep the performance cohesive, but that's not what she needs to do. She needs to shine bright like a diamond. I've got her. I'm going to spotlight her. And everyone's just like, what the fuck is going on? And then Aqua pushes her into the spotlight, and then she starts sparkling because this is who the real Akane is. She was always a star, and she's going to shine like a supernova. And everyone in the audience is like, my God, this side character is so beautiful. Wait, I'm completely lost on this.
Wait, what's happening in the plot?
The plot doesn't matter. These people are so beautiful and so good at acting.
We also have my favorite flashback.
Oh, yeah?
Because we learned that little Akane had seen Kana in a movie, and she was like obsessed with it. So she decided to become an actor, a child actress herself. And so she practiced really hard and tried her best, and even like styled herself to look like Kana.
Yeah, this is the part where where the two of them look literally identical.
And she went to her first audition, and they look so identical that an adult sees her, thinks, oh, hey, that's Kana. Here, let me help you. Let me help you open that water bottle you were struggling with. By the way, Kana, you don't need to worry about the other auditions that have shown up. You've already been picked. This is entirely for show. And Akane's standing there like, what? And then the real Kana walks in, and dude just walks away like, whoops.
We're not going to address this. We're not going to talk about this.
And then, because she's an evil 6-year-old, Kana just goes, yeah, of course I have this entire thing rigged, because it means I get to work, and nothing's better than me working and everyone else starve. Which is interesting, because that's both of what Akane said she loved about her performance, but when it's directed at her, she suddenly doesn't like it. No.
Yeah, it's sort of like how Yuriko was saying, hey, you can't really pin all the blame on an adaptation failing on just one person. That's unreasonable. No one is trying to fail. Also, I fucking hate Melt. It's that the like hypocrisy you don't even notice in yourself.
I also like how his performance turns her around, despite the fact he's still objectively a bad actor for the rest of it. Like, ugh. But yeah, so Kana shines bright like a diamond, and then we get her half of that flashback, which is she was only doing that because her mom tied her entire her mother tied her own self-worth to her daughter's success. So when she stopped getting work, she was blaming herself, and then is strongly implied to hit her, which caused her father to divorce her, which caused Kana's father to divorce her mother.
Yeah, it's very heavy for how quickly it brushes past a bunch of details.
And then proceeds to end with her turning into a disco ball on stage, which really feels tonally dissonant. But
after Akane became a an oil painting for a minute.
yeah, they do that repeatedly. His characters become oil paintings when they're very good at acting. Let's see what else nonsense happened. I think around here,
Aqua's entire misogynistic ad lib.
Yes, I was about to say this is amazing because we find out that Aqua has learned what he needs to do now. What we joked about earlier when he's like, "I need to get worse to be good at acting." That's actually what's happening because the only way he was going to be able to perform in this stage play was to be very emotional. And the only way he could do that was not by harnessing positive emotions, but by harnessing negative ones. So he is angry and like lashing out because he is garbage and doesn't deserve to be happy. He's a worthless failure. And he's channeling that into like pure rage as he's performing, which is really good for his demon character. And then finally, he realizes he needs to cry because Akane's character has been killed. And there's a whole thing about someone needs to sacrifice their life with her life-giving soul blade. It doesn't matter. But he then channels his inner monologue of like, my God, I hate you so much. And then he seems to have like a realization where he suddenly has mental health. And he goes, hold on a second. You, shadowy image of my former life. That is not your true form. I banish away you dark thoughts. And it reveals that the person he was talking to was not an after image of his previous self. It was 6-year-old him going, I failed to protect mommy. I'm worthless. That sadness was the real me. My God, I've unlocked the ability to ugly cry. And then he like is just holding Akane, just snot and tears flowing out of his face. And I'm like, that's not what you want to do as an actor. No one wants to see that. You've failed. You've cried too much.
But it gave him emotional catharsis in the story. So
also,
good
this
job.
is the shonen action. This is a shonen battle manga right now.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I take it back. The ad-libbing wasn't then. That was afterwards. The ad-libbing was when he was pumping up Kana. And essentially, she is in her like, I just need to make everyone look as good as possible. I'm going to make Aqua look as good as possible. And she's doing her lines. And then he goes like, shut up, woman. What do you think you're doing? Women aren't allowed on the battlefield. That is the place for men. Let me touch your flesh. It is soft and spongy. What worthless woman child are you here? And she's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, this is kind of the thing your character does in the manga, but you're really overplaying it, dude.
And the manga's literally like, he's ad-libbing. And Kana's just like, he's so good at this. And I'm like, he really is just saying a bunch of hurtful things.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying the dark thoughts out loud.
Yeah,
but it's fine. It's because he's acting. They're not real, guys.
Yep.
Sure.
That's how method acting works, right?
Yeah.
You're not drawing on real emotions you might have.
I genuinely wonder if that's ever going to come up again now. I don't know what I want the answer to be.
I don't know. Aqua's misogyny seems to be he thinks everyone who's not I is garbage. And his sister, but that's clearly not what he thinks, so I don't know.
Who knows?
It could have just been his self-hatred coming out as misogyny, I guess. I don't. We'll see if it matters.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. We do have one really cute panel, though, where after Kana reactivates her blue lock drive.
She literally becomes a sun on stage. Like she's supernova.
She turns on her blue lock powers. The chapter ends with a really cute panel of Kana being like, yes, that's the Kana, that's her, that's the Kana I fell in love with.
Meanwhile, I'm just reading this going like, man, I should read more blue lock. I love blue lock so much.
Blue lock so much. We should do it on the podcast again.
We should. Jay would like it.
Yes, she would.
Maybe that would get Jay back on the podcast.
So then, the entire thing that Matt was talking about happens with Aqua becoming worse.
And then ugly crying to a degree that you would never want to do for a performance.
Yep. We get even more catharsis, though, because he's thinking about how much he wants, like, I to come back. He's played through the wishful thoughts in his mind 1,000 times of how he could just magically undo her wounds, and then that's what happens to Akane's character. So there's a bit of projection happening there, but
and then the play ends.
Yep. At long last.
And everyone starts clapping as whatever the mess we just read that only make. Oh my god, I forgot. There's also the scene where Akane's character is being congratulated at how beautiful it is because they removed all the dialogue, and it's like she's going to have to perform this without talking, without a narrator explaining all the actions. How could you possibly understand what true art was? Meanwhile, this section has so much narration. I'm like, is that on purpose or like?
But no, it's not the narration in the play. It's the narration for the manga. My head hurts.
To be fair, the scene in the next chapter after this does have a lot of letting the art do the talking. So I think maybe it was on purpose. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chalk it up to the different media.
Yeah, but
when Oshi No Ko gets a stage play,
it might have one.
I would not at all be surprised.
Yeah, but does the stage play rotate the audience on a 360-degree turnstile?
If Oshi No Ko gets a stage play, it's got to be like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. It's got to be super meta.
I would love it. But we have all the actors who are completely exhausted, like, holy crap, we're going to do this for another month?
Kana mentions that once in passing, and that's the only comment on it.
Yep.
In passing out because she's exhausted. And then Memcha just like, yeah, I don't care how tired you are. Get back to the studio. We have a YouTube video to make.
Yeah, Kana, you're not off idle duty for the month. What?
But we end with the two old man directors sharing cigarettes.
This is where we get the casual line of the director going like, I planned for all of this. Everyone had to come and ask for those changes to me specifically, and I approved all of them because I'm a genius director. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, buddy.
They've all got the star power.
This is when people complain. When we get comments, they're like, no, they explain this later. I'm like, yeah, they cover up the mistake they made earlier later, right? Like, doesn't mean it was good.
We have all of the actors and the stage crew being so happy with how this turned out, and isn't it great? The audience loved it. This is so great. We've got a real gem on our hands here, and we end with Aqua, who went and took the cigarettes from the ashtray where the two men were smoking, and he's like, I finally got it. The DNA evidence I need. I'm going to begin my final investigation, and I will know exactly who killed I, and I will get my vengeance for Gotham.
And he's got the star Gias in his eye.
Yeah. We also, my favorite part about this is he's got other bags of evidence too. So it's like, oh, so he's also been doing that in addition to training and acting. Because that was the other thing was Ruby's like, no, he's gone for like all day and rehearsal's not that long and he's not at the director's house for that long. So where is he in that other chunk of time? He's been doing this.
Would have been pretty cool to see that, but okay.
I guess we're going to see that in the next arc. Which means I guess this arc was about Abiko, a character introduced in this arc.
Anyway, this brings us to the end of our reading. I almost
it's
want
a
to say
shonen favorite character, favorite fight.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. I did really like Abiko, but I think ultimately her sensei, I really liked Yuriko. She felt like the most well-rounded and mature character, and yet is still entirely unhinged. She's just better at repressing it.
She is the world has jaded her, but she understands that still
that's not a good thing. Yeah.
Like being happy is some level of self-deception at a certain degree, and that's not inherently unhealthy. Like you just can't only focus on the negative.
Mm-hmm. And the screaming match chapter is so freaking good.
Well, I love how we exaggerated it, and it's still not even that far off. Like,
yeah,
it gets cruel, and it's what she needed to hear, so it worked. Like,
yeah. I mean, and honestly, for both of them, it's the cruelest version of what both of them needed to hear.
So how about you, Matt? Favorite character?
Oh man, it is hard not to say Yoriko. But I think I do have to go with Akane in this because my girl realized that the boy she already had a thing for is deep and traumatic and goes like, "Yes, I will commit murder with you." And I'm like, that is a teenage girl right there. That is ride or die. And the fact that Aqua just immediately latches on with like, "Yep, ride or die, gotcha." Perfect. I
No.
love
You don't understand. Ride and die.
it. Oh man, and yeah, since this was a shonen, I do have to say my favorite fight is Akane turning into a disco ball. Not Akane, Kana turning into a disco ball. Because there's the whole metaphor about how she shines the spotlight on others, but then Aqua shines the spotlight on her, and she's like, "Oh, but I'm crying." No, you need to be good. And then suddenly the director in the audience is just like, you know, people always said she was really cool because she could cry on command, but actually, what made her a good actor was being a good actor. Hard to believe we forgot that.
And Jacob.
I want to say Yoriko and or Abiko, but I also, all of the reasons I like them, I also hate them for it. There's a little bit of self-loathing tied up in that.
That's Aqua's gig.
Yeah, no, I can't do that for that reason. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Akana because of that. Because there's a part of me that was like, there's a part of me that's like, they were already starting to rewrite it, but it would have been kind of funny if like she was like method acting the bloodthirsty version of her character, and that's the reason why she was immediately like ride or die with Aqua. And then, like, after the show wraps, she's suddenly not that way anymore. That would be really funny. But it is also very teenage girl for all of that to have been played straight. So it's honestly great either way. It's like my girlfriend gives me goosebumps, where it's like, I thought she was hardcore, but she's actually vanilla.
I'll never make a better edit than that one.
Plot predictions. We actually didn't get much advancement of the meta plot of the revenge mystery, is the thing.
Yeah, it almost feels weird to call this filler. I guess Aqua had some growth.
It was filler for the meta plot, but there was a lot of character stuff that happened.
I guess the relationship growth between Akane and Aqua is probably the most main character thing that happened. Although Kana also... Kana didn't have a lot of growth. She kind of just had a singular realization. But this also isn't her arc, so...
She had a character building editing moment.
She also had some great scenes of like, she's not even his real girlfriend.
Meanwhile, becoming his real girlfriend.
No, they are actually just dating is the funny part.
Yeah. Like it's not even in the process of, it's already happened.
They might kiss or hold hands, but they are emotionally relying on each other, which is a relationship. Like
You can't escape it, girl. Sorry.
They are common law dating at the moment.
I have a feeling that Melt is going to continue to be a main character. I don't know how much it's going to keep up with this whole it's actually a shonen battle manga stuff, because I'm not going to lie, it was fun in a way, but also really clashed with what Oshi No Ko is at a fundamental level.
Yeah.
I have some pretty strong mixed feelings, because it was fun. I enjoyed reading it, but like it doesn't really hold up under even at the time passing scrutiny. Like it's not even just like I'm realizing how goofy and stupid it was that now that we're talking about it. No, it's pretty obvious in the moment that like something here isn't lining up properly.
Yeah, that's why I said earlier, I'm not even sure if you're supposed to take the stage play as it was depicted in the manga as if that's like diegetic.
Yeah.
It
or
might
if
be...
the entire stage play as we saw it was just a giant metaphor.
The stage play is just how they perceive their own actions. Meanwhile, the audience is like, they just kept screaming louder at each other, like they could win by shouting. It was weird. But Melt was in there, and Melt's super hot. My God, you're right.
He's so hot.
And he did the thing from the manga.
Yeah, he did do the scene from the manga that didn't even seem possible. And that's all anyone was talking about. It did the thing from the manga.
Even the mangaka was like, he did the thing from the manga.
I like to think that Abiko didn't even know what happened after that because she and Goa just snuck her out to make out. Like everyone loves our script so much.
We have to go bang.
There's just too much excitement. Meanwhile, Yoriko's just like, they want $15 for a beer?
This is ridiculous.
What kind of tourist trap is this?
This is ridiculous as she gets her wallet out.
All right. Anything else for the plot predictions, or?
I don't think we got enough.
Yeah.
It kind of just teased the plot at the end. There's character building moments. Ruby probably has some resentment to Aqua going forward, maybe. I think might be a plot direction, but I didn't even get enough to really be certain of that.
One of the things about Oshi No Ko as a story, and this is, in all honesty, this is sort of like the whole shonen battle metaphor thing, where it's like, this is at once a bug, a feature, a positive, and a negative. This manga has so much going on with it. It's hard for it to actually go anywhere with anything. And then it also has a bad habit of being a place where the mangaka airs out his grievances about the entertainment industry when it's already really, really stuffed. So, because I feel like the last 2 or 3 arcs have been like this sort of situation where it's like they kind of tease that the plot is advancing, sort of, and some character things happen. Those were big.
This one kind of double dipped on it too, because it started as, here's how plays work, and here's why plays are better than movies in certain circumstances that I find. And then they went further in by, hey, you want to talk about manga and manga adaptions? And then just what it's like to publish a manga weekly? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Indeed.
Oh, man, if only we could get more of like the mystery going on. That'd be really neat. Sam, why haven't you asked if we'd continue reading yet?
Well, because we are. We're going to be reading more next week.
My God.
Hey.
You spoiled it for everyone.
I did. So make sure that you're following us on all of your social medias where you can find us at OverMangaCast to also know the things that we know about the schedule. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. We're not retaking that. Hey, Jacob, do your bit.
You mean the part where I tell everyone you can find us on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe, and that we have overmangacast.com that also has a place where you can comment on individual episodes, give us suggestions, tell us to read more Oshi No Ko, I guess, since we're already doing that.
Hold on, Jacob. What are you doing? Don't you know that asking for reviews is the place of men, not silly women like you? That was ad-libbing. That wasn't on the script. You can review us in any and all form. We really appreciate it. Requests are always great. Reach out to us overmangacast@gmail.com, or you can go to overmangacast.com. There's a nice little comment box there. This was a recommendation that actually quite a few people had put in. So we love hearing from him. And the fact that we are doing a 2-parter is specifically because we were explicitly told these 2 arcs are really good to read together, but we're not reading 40 chapters for an episode. That's not...
That's a bad idea.
Yeah, we...
Talk about overstuffed.
Yeah, you want to... go listen to our Yu-Gi-Oh episode if you want to hear what doing 40 chapters in an episode sounds like.
Our Yu-Gi-Oh episode, our first One Punch Man episode, most of our early stuff, actually. We made bad decisions early on. Do watch those episodes, though. I still like them.
And make sure you're tuning in next week where we are reading more Oshi No Ko, chapters 67 through 80, a much more reasonable amount. And we'll see you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
And cut. Okay, guys, that was a really good episode. Now, we just need to continuously do this once for a matinee and once for a night for the next 30 days.
I quit.
Oh.
Jay already quit.